Welcome back to the Out of Bounds podcast. I'm Charlie Caleri alongside
Gavin Williams.
And today we're going to be touching on the first round and second round of March Madness, which we talked about last week. If you haven't seen that episode, it's probably a little bit late right now, but I mean, you can still go back and tune in if you really want to. But this episode will be a really good recap if you haven't watched that episode or haven't watched the tournament yet so far. So we're really looking forward to talking about these games because it was a pretty good first round. It wasn't a great first and second round, I guess I'll say. But
I would say it was pretty good.
Yeah, but I feel like in years past we've had better first and second rounds. I feel like, especially in recent years.
That's very true. A lot of the higher seeds are moving on.
Yeah, not as many upsets this year. I feel like there's a lot in the first round, but in that second round, I feel like you usually get more than just the one that we got. So just going to be really interesting coming down the stretch here because it's a lot of the powerhouses. So it's going to be a lot of good games, a lot of great battles, and I think a lot of good finishes coming up along the way for the rest of this college basketball season. But for right now,
let's start in the East region.
Yeah.
Big name here is we got Yale beating Auburn in the first round. That was crazy. But Yale got blown out by San Diego State in the second round. But it doesn't matter.
No.
An upset's an upset. For when you're a 13 through 16 or maybe even like a 12 through 16, you're just hoping for a win.
Yeah,
if you get a win, that's a successful season.
Yeah, this Yale team, it was their second win in program history in the tournament. The only other time was when they beat Baylor back in 2016, I think, when like Torian Prince was on that Baylor team.
The rebound.
Talking about the rebounds, yeah. Yale was the team that won that game. They won against Auburn. A lot of people, including myself in one of my brackets, had Auburn in the Final Four as their champion.
Yeah.
I mean, that was maybe one of the biggest upsets of the tournament. We'll get to probably the biggest one in a little bit.
Charles Barkley was not happy. Let's just say that.
Yeah, no, that'll be the biggest upset's probably in that South region, but we'll get to that in a second. But sticking with the East, I mean, UConn, they look so good right now.
Did you see what their coach said?
Yeah, no.
He said, let's just keep blowing people out.
Yeah, I mean,
that's crazy.
It's all you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, that is all you have to do.
I mean, this UConn team, I mean, they won by 39, and then they won that game by what's that, man? 17 points right there against Northwestern. I mean, they got a tough San Diego State team coming up right now. I mean, it's a rematch of the championship from last year.
Yeah, it is.
We're seeing that in Sweet 16, so that's pretty cool, actually. I bet the committee put that in there for the storyline, hoping that this would happen.
The center for San Diego State, I can't remember for the life of me right now, but he's a baller. He's a hooper. He drew so many fouls against both UAB and Yale.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this. I mean, this region was loaded with Final Four teams from last year. FAU was in here too, who ended up losing to Northwestern. But FAU, they brought a lot of their guys back. A lot of them coming to Michigan. That's some big news right there, along with Dusty May, most likely. But that San Diego State team, they got a lot of guys too come back from last year. So they definitely want their revenge on UConn. But I don't know if they can really do it because this UConn team is really rolling right now.
They're hot. I don't see anybody beating them right now.
Yeah, I don't know. But on the other side of this region is Illinois and Iowa State, the 2 and the 3 seed. I mean, either one of these teams can knock off UConn, and definitely, I mean, that's going to be such a good game.
Yeah. Whoever wins and whoever plays, we're going to predict UConn because UConn.
We're going to predict UConn, yeah.
Rolling.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good game. But let's talk about a team real quick who I thought was frauds in the beginning. It was BYU.
Yeah.
I thought they were frauds. I had a feeling Duquesne was going to win.
Yeah, we had a feeling about Duquesne. I mean, we've seen Duquesne 3 times this year. We lost all 3 times. And, you know, watching Duquesne and watching the A-10, you start to get familiar with the teams. And looking at them and looking at BYU, we all thought that the guard play from Duquesne would have been the strong suit for them, and it wasn't that game. So, I mean, a big win for that program.
That was their last ride for the coach.
Yeah, and their Dan Brock.
Dan Brock.
He retired. He was LeBron's high school coach.
Yeah,
so pretty cool.
They got free LeBrons for the tournament.
They did. But they ended up getting crushed by Illinois.
That's a respectful loss, though.
Yeah, it was
very respectful.
Yeah, it was just a good program win for them. Illinois moving on though, like I said, to play Iowa State, who, I mean, they haven't really played a competitive game yet. I guess that game against Washington State was close for the first half, but I think in the second half kind of went in Iowa State's favor. Yeah, so that's gonna be a really good game coming up on the 28th there at 10 p.m. I mean, I'm pretty excited for that. It's gonna be Thursday night. Thursday night. That's pretty exciting right there. So that's the East region right there. Let's move over to the South right now. In the next Sweet 16 matchup in that region is Houston and Duke.
I think there's, I think that there's no shocker here. I think a lot of people predicted this matchup.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Houston, just dominating. I mean, against Longwood, Texas A&M gave them a run for their money, though.
They did. That was such a good game.
That was a great game.
Such a good game.
And that was an overtime game,
Yeah,
too.
back and forth, buzzer beater.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
And now they're playing a team who is red hot right now. I'm going to tell you one man right now. His name's Jared McCain.
Yeah.
And they're saying he's JMU.
And he's
Jared
2
McCain
days into
University.
college. And
And-
he's 3 lectures behind.
He put up 30 against JMU.
He is so tough.
I'm not a fan of him.
What is crazy
But
about
he's
this
a
Duke
baller.
team is that they have McCain, but they also have guys like Proctor. They have
They-
Filipowski.
yeah.
I mean, they
They have
have
so many pieces.
they have a lot of pieces where it doesn't need to be one guy each game, and that's I think what you need in the tournament, and that's why I think this Duke team is going to upset
I
this
think
Houston
they will
team
too.
in this round.
I think Houston finds a way to get to the Elite Eight.
Even though Sheed
I think-
and Cryer, they're 2 incredible players, and I honestly think whoever wins this matchup is going to be
Go
going
to
to the Final Four.
Yeah, I 100% think. I don't think NC State or Marquette will beat any of those teams because
No.
I think Shaka Smart's tournament, he's finally making somewhat of a run, which I'll give him respect.
Yeah, let's jump over to that side right now.
So Marquette had a pretty easy road to get there. I mean, they went through Western Kentucky and Colorado, who beat Florida.
Very tough
That
game.
was an awesome game.
Great game.
Great game. And-
Gritty win for Marquette.
Yeah.
And it really proved that they can win those gritty games because people are kind of think they're more than those flashy, kind of soft teams. But I think they can get gritty sometimes.
Yeah, and they're gonna need to get gritty against this NC State team who's got
Yes.
DJ Burns.
Yes.
He is a big effing boy.
Story of the tournament, probably.
Do you know what he does for a side hustle?
Yeah, I saw.
His vending machines.
Yeah, incredible.
Smart kid.
Incredible. I mean, he has 2 of them. He said.
Yep.
He's only got 2, but I mean,
It's a nice side hustle.
I think it's a nice side hustle. I mean, all you got to do is just go there, collect the money, put your snacks in there, and I mean that's all you need
Exactly.
right there. And I'm sure he's not the one doing it.
no,
I mean,
he's probably got someone doing it.
yeah, I
for
mean
him.
that's probably smart. If I was in his spot, I'd
Yeah.
probably have somebody else.
But I mean,
do it too.
This Marquette team, they're gonna have to find a way to get gritty because NC State's very gritty. But they also have shooters like O'Connell. He can shoot.
Yeah, he can drive too. Because at the end of that Oakland game, which we will talk about Oakland in just a second, he had an and one right at the end of that game, right in the OT, which ended up being basically the turning point in that game, where it was kind of the dagger. But talking about Oakland, let's talk about that first round game where they beat.
Let's talk about one
Kentucky.
man. Let's talk about the name, the prince of the tournament, as
Golke.
they're saying. Jack Golke.
Jack Golke, what, 10 threes? 11 threes?
10 for 20 against Kentucky.
Insanity.
50%.
Insanity, this kid. I mean, coming off the bench,
Yep.
6-man. I mean, I'm assuming he was probably 6-man of the year in
this conference.
the Horizon League. But he was a 5-year D2
D2
player, and then he transferred to Oakland for 1 year,
This year.
just to give it a shot. And look what happened. I mean, getting on NIL deals now, really making a name for himself. He knows he's
my
not
favorite
going.
quote. Yeah, my favorite quote.
Say it.
He was like, "Hey, I'm not going to the NBA, but I can compete with these guys."
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
this
he
is
could.
March Madness.
And he could. I mean, Reed Shepard did
you
not
see
have a
what
good
Louisville
game.
did?
Yeah, they bought out the Oakland
Their
merch.
website, Oakland's website crashed because Louisville fans bought $8,000 worth
flooded
of
it.
T-shirts.
Yeah, but let's
That's
talk.
a great rivalry.
Let's
to
talk about
see.
Kentucky real quick here because I mean, this is a lot of big question marks around this program now because I mean,
Coach
you saw
Cal.
Reed Shepard, the freshman. He had a terrible game. He just looked
Horrible.
hesitant. He looked scared. He didn't know what to do. They just did not look good as a whole.
No,
I'll say that. Rob Dillingham did not look good
no,
either.
he didn't look good.
They
that
really,
was the guy I thought was going to light this tournament up.
yeah, me too.
He was a baller all season.
Yeah, so they just really didn't have anything going. So I mean, this Oakland team, man.
That coach is awesome. by the
That
way.
coach is awesome. He's been there for 40 years.
40
years. He
decades.
built that. He literally built that program.
That's awesome.
And to see 40 years of work pay off again for that win, I mean, it's crazy. But sorry,
And
going back,
that was their first ever time advancing to the second round. I
I think so. In their program history, so that was big for him and big for that school and that program. But getting back to Kentucky and
Question marks.
Coach Calipari, I mean,
hey, his name was spelled wrong in an article.
it was. I mean, our teacher pointed that out. Shout out to Dr. Wilkins.
Yeah.
He pointed that out to us. There was what was it? The Lexington
The
Herald.
Lexington. It was the main Kentucky newspaper source.
Yeah.
Had a front page article about
Front page.
about John Calipari.
Yeah.
And Calipari was spelled with a K. And
Unreal.
that was a headline too. That's
Unreal.
just embarrassing.
It's just embarrassing. You gotta figure out the names. You really
Get
do.
the names right.
Don't mess up names.
Don't mess up names.
Don't mess up names. It really bites you in the butt. But I mean, Coach K. Or not Coach K. Sorry, not Coach K. I guess in that newspaper it was, but Coach Calipari. I mean, he's a legendary coach, but is it just time for him to try to get in front of it and just retire? At this
I don't
point?
think
I think he's got a lot left.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I think he should leave Kentucky and go to a different school. Bring him to a Florida. Bring him to like a Colorado. Bring him to a team that's on the rise.
Ooh.
That he can go in there, fill in the coaching role, let the team do the rest. He's got great recruiting.
Yeah, he does. Look at the people that he's had.
Slippery. I mean, he's very slippery. He can go behind the backs. He might be doing a little illegal stuff. He makes it. And
programs would kill to have him running their program.
Exactly.
I mean, like you just mentioned. I mean, the Colorado and Florida programs, those two would die to have him as their coach.
Like,
I mean,
teams like that, like who are in the middle of their conference.
Imagine Calipari and Coach Prime at the same school. That'd be
on.
crazy. Colorado, you might have to get on that.
Come on, let's go Buffs.
I mean, I have Marquette probably winning that game against NC State.
I think so too.
But I hope it's a close game.
I do too. I mean, I want to see DJ Burns get hungry under the paint.
That'd be awesome.
I love watching him play. I mean, I hate NC State. From a Cuse fan, I hate NC State, but
it's a good run.
DJ Burns is hilarious.
You got to acknowledge the run that they're going on, but you also got to acknowledge those teams in the West region that are on their runs right now. And I mean, this is a good region.
Good region. I mean, let's just break
region.
it down. I mean, North Carolina single-handedly beat the absolute piss out of Wagner.
They did.
But
they really did.
In their next matchup against my Spartans of Michigan State, they were down by 12 in the first half, and just seeing the face, just dead, not physical, nothing. Seeing the face on the coach,
Hubert Davis.
Hubert Davis was pissed, and he was like, "We're not." He was screaming at.
Can I mention something about Hubert Davis real quick? I love his suit game.
Oh, his awesome.
It is awesome.
He has plaid. He's got regular.
I just love that. I hope this is kind of just a tradition that carries on. I think Roy Williams created a great tradition for UNC coaches. Just dress as like
professional and fun
professionally
at the same time.
casual as you can, and just make it fun. And Hubert Davis is carrying that legacy on. I hope when Hubert Davis is gone, hopefully in a while, because I like him a lot as a coach.
I like him a lot,
hopefully when he's gone in a while, the next coach will continue that tradition, because that's pretty cool.
Thinking about the best rivalry in all of basketball, I mean, we have Hubert Davis, we have Schneider, and they're both really, really good coaches.
They are.
And this
it's
might
a
be
new generation. It's awesome.
This might be the new Roy Williams, Coach K.
I really
rivalry.
hope so.
And I mean, both these coaches. I mean, one's significantly younger, and I think Duke is in good hands for probably.
But they're
20,
both so
years.
smart. They're both so smart.
The basketball IQ from Hubert Davis is unbelievable.
Unreal.
The reporter asks him a question. He already knows what she's going to say. Starts yelling before her answer is even done.
Yep.
The only other guy I've seen do that is Coach K, Tom Izzo, Roy.
Yeah.
And I mean, those are legendary coaches.
Yeah.
And I mean, I loved being up 12.
If you throw Dusty May in there, if you throw a new Michigan coach, I was kidding.
But they were down 12 in the first half. Michigan State was lighting it up. Hall was lighting up just the paint.
Tyson Walker.
They were playing great. Out of the timeout, 17-0 run, 24-0 run. Just found a way to annihilate this Michigan State defense.
They ended up winning by 16.
Baycott, unstoppable. Could not stay out. Michigan State could not stay out of foul trouble.
That guy can go on a run.
Carter. I mean, all of them. Baycott and RJ Davis complement each other so well.
The pick and roll with those two, that duo, it's like Kobe and Shaq.
It's perfect.
Bread and butter.
And
Peanut butter and jelly.
North Carolina is up there with UConn with the scariest teams in the country.
And I was saying that before the tournament. I'll pat myself in the back with that one. I saw that
will be an insane Final Four. If
hopefully,
both make them.
Hopefully the vision is there for me, and hopefully it finishes out that UNC with the disappointing season they had last year, they follow it up with hopefully a trip to the Final Four or the championship. That'd be pretty cool. But the team that they're playing, the Alabama Crimson Tide, a down season this year, but they're still back. I mean, Nate Oates has really built this program up after being at Buffalo. Shout out to the Bulls. But Nate Oates in this program, I mean, Alabama back in the Sweet 16 once again.
Yeah. It's really good to see it.
It
Alabama, I mean,
some new teams. I like seeing new teams.
I do too. And they were going against a Charleston team who was very, very good. And I thought for 100% they were going to lose that game. Charleston is a team.
They put up 109 points.
Yeah. Charleston's a team in previous years who's upset. I think both years in a row, 2 years in a row, they upset. Maybe
They've been pretty close at least.
They've
yeah.
been very competitive in the dance, and Alabama lit them up.
They did. They won by 13. Yeah, it was 109-96.
It was not. That was not the score.
That was the score.
That was the final score.
Yeah.
But in reality, they were winning by 20 points.
Yeah.
Almost the whole game.
Yeah.
I mean, Alabama just looks great. I mean, they beat Grand Canyon, who had a great win over St. Mary's. I won't take that away from them.
They did.
But now Alabama's got their hands
They got a
full.
real test now.
Hands
Yeah.
full.
Yeah. I mean, a win's a win in March. I'll
Of
give him
course.
that. But
If
I
you're in
mean,
Sweet 16, that's a great
you beat a
accomplishment.
12 and a 13 seed. Now you got to go out and beat the big dogs. I mean, this
Yeah.
is going to be a tough run here, especially if they win that game. They're going to have to play the winner of Clemson, Arizona.
Let's talk
Clemson,
about
Arizona.
Clemson.
Let's talk about Clemson because I had them losing to New Mexico.
I did too.
Who they beat in the first round, obviously, and then second round,
Handily.
everybody knew it was going to be Baylor.
Yeah.
No offense to Colgate, great. They're
Yeah.
they're a very competitive school in the Patriot League.
Patriot League.
For the Patriot League, but Baylor then played Clemson in the next round, and I thought Baylor was going to blow them
I
out
thought
of the
Baylor
water.
was going to beat Arizona.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I had Baylor going to my Elite Eight.
Clemson won by 8. They won
Yeah.
that game by 8. On the other side,
And that was a
Arizona.
good that was a great finish. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like 4-point lead with like 2 minutes left.
It was
a great.
It was a
competitive
close game. Yeah. And then I mean, on the other side, in the first round there, in that bottom part of that bracket there, Dayton and Nevada. What a game that was!
I was so mad.
What a game that I hate Dayton.
I was slamming.
But what a finish
Slamming.
that! What a finish to that game!
17-0 run.
What a finish to that game, though. Yeah, I
It
mean,
was
as
a
a
24-4 run to finish the game.
as a basketball fan, how can you not love
No,
that?
you
though?
love that,
You love
especially
that.
in March.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, that's
Come
what March
on.
is all about. I
This
hope
is March.
I wish it was anybody but Dayton,
Dayton, yeah,
basically.
I wish that was Nevada winning that.
Yeah, but Dayton ended up winning that game by 3. Arizona won by 20 against Long Beach State, and then
But
Arizona
they missed a layup
they did.
to cover the spread.
They did.
So
Yeah.
if you bet Long Beach to cover, congratulations.
Congratulations
Money in
for
your
that
pocket.
game. Yeah, Arizona moved on and played Dayton
Control.
that next game.
That was
and
control, complete control. I mean, there
they
were some
had it the whole
spots-
game.
Yeah, I mean,
You
there were some
knew it.
spots where Holmes was going, and then Cheeks was going. They had some
Yeah.
good runs.
I was gonna say they made a few runs where they got within like 6 or 5,
Yeah.
and then Arizona kind of
Caleb Love got
went
going.
on some runs.
Because
Yeah,
Caleb Love in the first 10 minutes of the first half was unbelievable. Kind of went quiet. Second half was quiet for the
well,
first
that's why
half.
they got off to that hot start
Yeah.
because he was just balling right away.
Caleb,
so,
Caleb Love's his first 6 or 7 minutes were horrible in the second half.
yeah,
And then turned it right around, got dunking, got shooting. I mean, that Arizona team, if they can control Clemson, I don't think they make the Final Four this year. I don't think Arizona's the team to make it to the Final Four, but
I don't think so either. I mean,
Definitely not,
I think
actually.
it's UNC's to lose,
it's
I really
UNC's to lose. This region is UNC's to lose.
but I feel like if Bama wins that game, I feel like they can beat
I think
Arizona.
Baylor. Yeah.
I think they
Or
can beat
Baylor.
Arizona.
Sorry. If Bama goes to the Elite Eight, I think Bama goes to the Final Four. They're going to Arizona if
Yeah.
they can get away from.
I got
Mountain
UNC and I got Arizona. That's who I got.
That's what I got too. I mean, Clemson. I mean, it's a great run for them. I mean, Joe Girard, I hate that man, but he's
Clemson,
playing
Arizona, some football schools.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I mean, we got Hall. Hall's balling.
PJ Hall, yeah.
He might be one of the best centers in the country.
He is. I mean, he's been legit. I mean, he's been their guy. I mean,
He's the number one
I
option.
honestly totally forgot that he was there. I keep forgetting in my head that he transferred from BYU to Clemson and not from Clemson to BYU.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that BYU is so good this year, even though I keep forgetting that BYU has that Khalifa guy,
Yep.
the big center dude. But regardless, both of them are out of the turn. Sorry, BYU's out.
BYU's out.
Clemson's very much
in.
still in.
Yeah.
And they got a tough game coming up against Arizona. But moving on to that last region that
The
we just need to
Midwest.
touch on, Midwest.
The weakest.
Probably the weakest, but it's been the most fun. I
It
feel
has
like
been very, very
it's been
fun.
just kind of, I mean, not as random as we thought, but I think some of the best games in the tournament and best performances have come out of this region. I mean,
Yeah.
starting right off at the top there, Purdue, they just been dominant. Nothing really to say there. They played Grambling and Utah State, and they just blew them both out of the
Yeah.
water.
I mean, Purdue looks good, but they have a tough matchup.
Yeah. And then, I mean, Gonzaga, they beat McNeese in the first round and then beat up on Kansas. But
They beat up on Kansas.
Kansas in that first round against Samford, that was one of the games of the first round.
Yeah.
Samford really was in it
They
late
gave
in
them a
that
run to
game.
the money.
They had that block, controversial block at the end of the game that was called a foul.
Yep.
It was all ball.
It was all ball.
How was the ref supposed to see that in real time? I don't know.
I don't know.
So, I mean, I think at that point, it's kind of one of those that calls that everybody's just kind of like, that's just unfortunate.
Yeah, it's human
You
error.
can't do anything
happens.
about that. I mean, anytime that the ball comes off off a guy's hand like that, or what it seems to be like his hand, goes off the backboard that hard, it's usually a hand going and not the ball. So, right play to call that a foul in that situation, but it's just really unfortunate for Sanford. Anyway, they got crushed in the second round by Gonzaga, so it really didn't matter.
Handled the game the whole time.
We got Purdue-Gonzaga. I mean, Gonzaga's hot right now, but Purdue's hotter.
But Purdue had an easier road to the Sweet 16, while Gonzaga had to get through Kansas. And obviously, Kansas isn't what they were 2 months ago.
No.
But it's still Kansas.
Yeah.
And it's still a good win. So I would say Gonzaga's a little bit hotter, but I think Purdue's a better team. I mean, I don't know who's going to stop Zach Edey before we get to the Elite Eight.
No, I really don't either. And I think Purdue's going to single-handedly – well, not single-handedly, but
I think they'll win by 10.
I think they're going to manhandle Gonzaga down low, especially with Edey.
I think they win from around 8 to 12 points.
I think it's going to be a close game, though. I think it's going to end up closer to that range that you just said, but I think it's going to be a close game most of the way.
End, though.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Last
I think
2
fouls are
minutes.
going to get the best of Gonzaga. Yeah. So, but this bottom part of this region, I mean, we saw Oregon beat South Carolina in a legendary performance from Cousinard, who scored, how many points? 40 points in that game? 30 points in that.
I think it was 38.
38 points in that game. I mean, unreal performance from that guy.
From his old school.
Against his former team. Yeah. Against his former coach. I mean, just unreal performance right there. Creighton beating up on Akron. I mean, we expected that one. And then that next game, Creighton also beating up on Oregon, even though Cousinard had another great game.
And it was 2 overtime. It was a double.
Yeah. It was. I mean, sorry, they beat up on them in that in the second overtime.
Great game until that second overtime. Then it just
13-point win in overtime. That's crazy.
It just fell apart.
It's crazy. Yeah, they were gassed. You could really tell when they got to that second OT that Creighton was going to win.
Yeah.
Because they run so many guys and they're so fresh all the time, and that's why I think Creighton's going to be a really big problem for Tennessee in the next game. Who Tennessee had to play St. Peter's, easy win there for them. And they had to play
the old rivalry.
Yeah, they had to play Texas.
Orange versus burnt orange.
Yeah, which I mean, it was a pretty good game. It was a very close game. Yeah. Max Asmus had a pretty decent game. He was making shots, floaters like he usually does, but it wasn't enough for Dalton Connect. I mean, he is just this guy.
He is tough.
He is a March Madness killer, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already 2 games through, and I think these next 4 for him potentially are going to be some of the best of all time. So watch out for Dalton Connect in this Tennessee team. I have them beating Creighton in this next round.
I do too, but that could be a really, really good game. And that's going to be on Friday night at 10:09 tip-off.
Yeah, so, I mean, Thursday and Friday night, we got 2 great games. I mean, Illinois, Iowa State on Thursday, 10 o'clock, and then Friday, like you just said, Tennessee, Creighton. So strap in, get your popcorn, maybe some beverages if you partake, and then sit down and watch these games.
We got a
weekend. Some great games.
Again, we got another weekend.
Another
full
weekend.
Of basketball.
Yeah, enjoy it. Let's enjoy it. Last one of the year, basically. So, I mean, my Final Four prediction, if we're getting into that now.
We'll get into it again.
I'm going to stick with what I said last time. UConn, Duke, UNC, and Tennessee. And I still got UNC and Tennessee.
I'm going to actually.
But this time I got Tennessee winning it all. I'm changing my pick to Tennessee. So, if I'm doing a second chance bracket. That's what I'm doing.
I did a second chance.
I did one too. I had Tennessee winning.
And I had that same Final Four.
Oh, really?
I stuck to my guns. I kept Tennessee winning.
Okay.
So I had Tennessee winning. I'm going to keep them winning because they look great.
They do. They look so good.
They do.
I don't know what it is about them, and they're not even one of the top teams.
To watch, though.
They are fun to watch. Those pants on the. We said it before.
Come on.
Those pants on the sideline.
Yeah, fans walking in with overalls. I mean, come on.
It's awesome, dude.
Why didn't I go to Tennessee? I'd be a great volunteer. I'd be a great.
Go Bonas.
Go Bonas.
That's why.
Go Vols though.
Go Vols though. Yeah.
I got my Vol orange coming on.
Do you?
My Sparty green had to go to the closet. Vol orange coming out.
It's gotta hurt a little bit.
It does hurt
a little bit.
But I love wearing the Vol orange.
Yeah. It
has zero Tennessee anything on it, but it's just such a cool color.
Such
a cool color.
Yeah. Before we wrap this up, what was your favorite either player or moment from the first weekend?
Player Jack Golke. I mean, there's no 2 ways about it. The guy shoots 300 threes and 10-2. I mean, come on. I mean,
that
awesome.
spray chart was so funny.
But so I'll say Jack Golke was my favorite player of the.
Who was the best player in the first round or first weekend? You think?
I think Jack Golke.
You think he was the best player?
At least the first round.
At least the first weekend.
Oh,
first weekend.
First total weekend. That's a tough
question. I know. Yeah.
Tough question. I'm obviously gonna go with a team who won, who's still in right now.
I'm gonna say Jared McCain. I'm just gonna
I'm
go
gonna put
overall
Jared McCain on there
because
too.
he had a really solid first round, but that second round was
The
so
second
good.
round 30-point.
Mhm.
I mean, come on.
I would say Kuznard, but he didn't win that second game,
No.
so I don't think I can justify picking him. But he scored, I think, over 100 or almost 100 points in the first 2 games of the tournament. So very
then-
impressive stuff right there.
Probably my favorite team who's still playing right now. Well, sorry, not my favorite team, but the team I'm like, oh my God, they're still playing right now is NC State.
Yeah,
I mean, there's 4 ACC teams in the Sweet 16.
it's a great look.
And we said the ACC was horrible this year. So, or a lot of people said.
Yeah, a lot of people
it
did.
was a down year.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But that just shows you how competitive the ACC is.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely
There you
think this
go.
was just a competitive. You said it best, a competitive year all around, not just for the ACC,
For most,
but for everybody. I feel like the Mountain West was involved a lot, but
A10.
the A10 had 2 teams somehow. We thought that wasn't possible, but
Yeah.
we got 2 bids, so that was pretty cool. So the season has been really great. I would say my favorite player of the first round. I mean, Jack Colkey. It's hard not to pick him.
It's hard not.
But
It's hard not to.
if I had just pick another guy, I'd probably pick DJ Burns. I mean that
Burns,
matchup
you
between
man.
Golke and Burns in that second round, NC State and Oakland. I mean, how
Oh.
could you not love that? How could you not love that?
That's
So
a basketball fan's dream right there.
yeah,
DJ
really.
Burns, man.
I mean, those 2 guys play the same sport.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's
do.
awesome. That's basketball, and that's basketball.
That's hoops, man.
So thank you guys for listening. As always, make sure you guys follow us on our Instagram.
At Out of Bounds Podcast with a dot between every single word.
Yes, there is. Enjoy the rest of March. The rest of March
Enjoy-
Madness.
Enjoy this weekend. We got
Yeah.
Sweet 16 and Elite 8. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's see who punches their ticket to go to the final.
Oh, I love punching the ticket. But those poor kids from the losing team.
Oh,
Those poor kids.
poor kids.
Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Have a day.